Today's guest grew over 100,000 subscribers in just 37 days.
Hit record. I'm driving in my car. I had no script. I didn't prepare for this. It was completely just like natural and organic. And I'm just sharing insights on fat loss and health and things I've learned over the years. We posted on the channel, and that video started to become the fastest growing video on the YouTube channel out of over 1,000 videos over 6+ years. But there was no B-rolls like other videos, pretty simple to do, and there was no prep. It was completely organic.
He started YouTube actually years ago, so what changed? Well, he really has cracked the code, and in today's episode, you're gonna be learning 7 different specific YouTube formulas that you can apply immediately to get at least 4 times, if not 300 times more views on your next video. And this isn't the same recycled advice that you've heard 100 times before. We're gonna break down the exact templates he used and show some real examples of how he has been going viral. And so over the next really 40 minutes, you're gonna learn the counterintuitive title formula that outperformed his channel average views by 300x. You're also going to be learning some of the psychological triggers that make viewers click, watch, and subscribe. And we're going to be discovering how he did all of this without YouTube Shorts. This was on his YouTube long form videos. This might be the most practical, tactical, actionable YouTube strategies that you've heard in a long time, if ever. And our guest is Ben Azadi. He's a functional health practitioner with over 16 years of experience. He helps people with intermittent fasting, metabolic health. He is the author of a brand new book, Metabolic Freedom, and he's the founder of Keto Camp. Now, his YouTube channel has grown over the years. Now it's 445,000 subscribers, but growth at times has been slow and sometimes even has plateaued. That happens to a lot of us as creators. Sometimes what worked in the beginning, we need to reinvent ourselves. And so I really believe as you listen to this entire episode today, you're going to get some very practical tactics that you can apply, whether you're just starting or wanting to scale your YouTube channel. So Ben, I want to just go 0 to 100 real quick. What's been happening on your YouTube channel over the last few months? You sent me some text messages and it was like 69,000 subscribers in the last 30 days. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And then, another one, you're like, it's still going. Kind of speak to maybe where you were over the past year, but specifically what's been happening in the last few months.
It's been super cool to see it just take off in the last 30-ish days or so. And yeah, I've been so excited about it. I've texted you to celebrate those victories with you because you've taught me so much over the years. And you're right. The strategy is constantly changing and evolving. And there's been spurts of growth over the years and then a slowdown, a stall. But what I've been seeing the last couple months or so is unlike anything I've seen before on the channel. It's been super exciting. And I was looking at kind of the videos and where it started to take off. And it actually started with an unconventional video that I posted. And it was one of the easiest videos I've ever done because I was literally having lunch with my videographer. I just got off stage at a conference here in Miami. We had recorded content. We had lunch. And I told him, hey, I could drop you off at your Airbnb. Let me put it into my GPS. And it showed that it was about 15, 17 minutes away in downtown Miami. So we got in the car and I'm like, oh, you have your camera on you? Is it set up? And he's like, yeah. I said, mic me up. Let me just record me as I drive you to the Airbnb. So he just hit record. I'm driving in my car around Miami, just driving him to his Airbnb. And I'm just sharing insights on fat loss and health and things I've learned over the years. I had no script. I didn't prepare for this. It was completely just like natural and organic. And I recorded the 17-minute video. We posted on the channel, and that video started to become the fastest growing video on the YouTube channel out of over 1,000 videos over 6+ years. And it really just took off. And it went from 5,000 to 10,000, 100,000, 200,000. And when that happened, I started to post more videos that are similar formats where just me kind of like having a conversation with the audience. And it just took off from that one video. So it was a different style and it was really easy. It was minimal editing. Yes, the audio was good. The visual was good, but there was no B-rolls like other videos. There were no other animations like other videos. It was pretty simple to do and there was no prep. It was completely organic.
That's a really inspiring story and a good encouragement to get out of a rut. I think some of us, we get stuck in the same style. Maybe we're always doing talking head with B-roll. We're always video podcasting or sharing our screen or doing whatever it is we do, it's cool to hear that you switched it up. And in just a second, we have written down together really 7 viral title formulas that you've then applied over the last few months that anyone can plug their videos into. But I do want to go a little bit deeper on this. What styles are you doing now? What is, with all of this growth, how often are you posting a week? Are they all this kind of like more off the cuff, not scripted? Or do you still do some scripted videos, some off the cuff videos? What is the kind of the packaging of your current strategy?
I'm doing a lot of protocol videos, like the 3-step protocol to XYZ, 5 easy ways to do XYZ. A lot of my audience, they're loving the protocol, and I'm spinning it in a way or sharing it in a way where all of the steps are tied together. So it's not just the first step in the protocol, it's all 5. And if you miss number 5 or number 4, you're not going to get the biggest benefit here. And a lot of it is educational solo content. So to answer your question, I'm doing 4 new videos every week on the channel. One of them is an interview where I'm posting for my podcast. That's on a Monday. And then I'm doing 3 solos, which is going to be on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, which are educational that range from 12 to 25 minutes. With those 3 solos, one of them is more conversational, where I'll either be in my car recording or sitting down here on one of the chairs where I'm just kind of talking to you if like you were in my living room and we're just having a conversation, camera's a little bit closer. The other 2 that are more protocol focused, I'm kind of sitting like this, where I have the mic and I'm teaching you, going through the protocol. There's no fluff. And you teach this. I'm not introducing myself. I'm not having some sort of like trailer keto camp podcast. Like it's right into the protocol. Like I try to get as fast as possible into that first tip, with that first tip being the most different, unique, controversial tip. And I'm tying them all together so that they want to stay to get the full protocol. And what I'm doing when I'm done with the script of that video, I put it into ChatGPT, and then I prompt ChatGPT to give me 7 to 10 questions somebody might have based off of what I just shared that I did not address in that video. And then I add Q&A to all of those solos as well.
Whoa, that was a major insight. So when you finished outlining and scripting one of your teaching videos, you then say, hey, ChatGPT, what are 7 to 10 questions that might come up from the audience? And then you do Q&A in that same episode at the end?
Yeah, all of them have Q&A for many reasons. Number 1, there's going to be questions that pop up that I do want to address. Number 2, you know about this. You want to get over that 8-minute mark. You want to be able to put those mid-rolls. You want to be able to monetize time on platform. Think Media talks a lot about that. So doing it in a strategic way where it's not just prolonging the video to prolong it, but it's actually adding value. So all of my solo content has Q&A attached to it.
Makes total sense. And are you doing time codes and chapters so they also can then look at that section of the video if they want, or no?
No, we haven't been doing that.
Got it. Okay, so that is incredibly inspiring. I want to dive into more of your story and the different lessons you've learned in the seasons of your YouTube channel in a little bit. But before we get there, I do want to cover really what we've called the 300X formula, 7 viral title formulas that transformed your channel from kind of being plateaued to now experiencing massive growth. I think I did the math. It's nearly 10 million views in 3 months, and in a range of around 37 days or something, 100,000 subscribers. And I do want to encourage listeners. You might say, well, Ben was already established. I mean, he did have a good base for that growth to happen. But I would even challenge that assumption, that we're living in an era where, in a way, subscribers don't matter, because we're seeing it all over the place where there could be channels with large subscribers, but they're not getting views. What matters in today's world is the content. And what it's cool is brand new channels are breaking through because they master title, thumbnail, packaging, content, and established channels have to reinvent themselves. And so you're listening to somebody, meaning it's not easy to get 100,000 new subscribers and to experience what Ben experienced. But I studied his channel and he's been doing these videos, and you can apply, they're really formulas. And we'll break these down one by one so you can use these on your next videos. If you're ready to get serious about starting and growing a successful YouTube channel, then you're gonna love vrapodcast.com. For a limited time, we have a special sale happening on our YouTube course and coaching membership that includes the online course, the 80-page workbook, and access to the private community. Inside of this program, you have everything you need for starting a successful YouTube channel all in one place. You get access to checklists and resources that will save you time, reduce stress, and help you reach your YouTube goals faster. But also, the most powerful part is the community. It's not just other creators and entrepreneurs that are ambitious and reaching for their goals, but it's also the Think Media faculty that's in your corner, answering your questions and helping you stay motivated on your journey to YouTube success. And for a limited time, we are running a big sale at vrapodcast.com. So if you want to check it out, just click the link in the show notes or go to vrapodcast.com. All right. Let's get back into the episode. Number one is the unexpected solution formula. And what I picked these out from Ben's channel using AI because there are what's called outliers. And so these produced anywhere from around 5 times to 9 times more views than the average views he was getting on his channel. So they're like proven kind of styles or formats that you could say, how could I plug my niche into this? So I'm going to give you some examples in just a second, but here's the example, Ben. Break down this video and kind of talk about the inspiration and what you did here. If you eat one whole avocado every day, this happens to your body and fat, ! That's the title. It got 33,000 views and it's the unexpected solution formula. What's kind of happening here and what was this video? How did you deliver the information?
Yeah, that's an interesting title. And I also want to chat a little bit later about what it did for my email list, because that's been huge for my business. So let's circle back to that. Yeah, it's really interesting because I could talk about the benefits of eating avocados, but how do you make it like sexy? How do you make it different without just telling people, yeah, there's potassium and B vitamins and it's a healthy fat. So the timeline, giving people a timeline, like, look, when you have one avocado every day, on day 1, here's what you're going to notice. Okay, on day 2, here's what you're going to notice. And going through a timeline, a lot of these solo videos with the protocols are a timeline, what happens inside of your body. And people just love that. They want to know, okay, if I do this for 7 days, what am I going to experience inside of my body? So this video goes through a week protocol, 7 days, and I explain a timeline of new benefits every single day that get unlocked by simply eating a whole avocado every day, which to me is a superfood.
And what's crazy is, like, in a way, what you said, this is the thing to catch. It was all packaging and positioning, because maybe the old, I would say kind of outdated way that's not getting views would be something like why you should eat an avocado every day could be the title, or 7 benefits of eating an avocado every day. But your title, if you eat one whole avocado every day, this happens to your body and fat. Curiosity loop opens up curiosity. So for any niche, you're listening to this, here's your formula. If you use this one tool or technique daily, this happens to your insert the results area. Like if you use this one AI software, this will double the growth of your channel. What's the AI software? There's curiosity there. So in personal finance, if you invest $10 every morning, this happens to your retirement fund. Or in gaming, if you practice this drill for 10 minutes on Call of Duty, this happens to your KD ratio. I don't know if KD ratio is in Call of Duty, but
it is. I remember that it is. Yes.
Amazing. So the unexpected solution formula. Okay, the next one is the step-by-step protocol formula. And here was one that you did. I love this title. The 5-step protocol to lose man boobs after 40 plus.
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's kind of a niche video because it's only for men. And when I looked at my analytics, it was showing that in the last 37 days, the majority of my videos were being watched by men. So that's why I made a video for men. It was about 65% men. And before that, it was a kind of an even split, Sean, of 50-50. But the last 37 days, a lot of men started watching the channel. So I thought, what's a problem that men have? How can I make a video about it? How can I make it different? We hate man boobs. And I bring a different spin. I talk about the hormonal effect of that, how it also lowers testosterone. So there's some tips on how to raise testosterone. But I go right into those steps. I think maybe 30 seconds or 40 seconds in, I'm already talking about those steps there. And I actually watched the video again, and I thought I probably could have gotten into it even faster. I think the faster I could get into those steps, the more they're going to want to learn those 5 steps. And I think you would agree to that. So yeah, that video crushed. That's still growing as well. And it's a niche video for men, but it's doing really well on the channel.
You've revealed here what I think is the new way to niche on YouTube, because there is maybe the thought that if you called out men and an age, you would have a limit to your views, which is generally true. But as they say in online marketing, the riches are in the niches. Like, how many people are in the world? I mean, 2.7 billion, 2.9 billion perhaps monthly active users on YouTube. And the way the algorithm works is it's trying to satisfy viewers. And once it starts to understand that, okay, men over 40 that are fitness minded or trying to lose their man boobs, like, it starts realizing who to recommend this video to. 43,000 views. There's actually more views at this current moment than the avocado video. And everybody could eat avocados. That didn't call out a gender or an age. And so I think that's a very practical tip for listeners. And if you haven't thought about that, you might call out over 40, over 50. We've been doing that on the Fake Media podcast even. We had Denise Jordan and she crushed it. And I think it was like an over 50 video. Again, we're like, okay, that's going to be somewhat limited. It did not limit the views. If it's still packaged really well, and then your insight of studying your analytics and getting to the steps fast is powerful. And then podcast listeners, here's what you could do for any niche. This 5-step protocol to achieve the result, even if you've been struggling with a plateau. That's the formula. So a business example, this 6-step protocol to land high-ticket clients, even if you're just starting out, or if you had a homesteading channel. The 4-step protocol to grow the perfect tomatoes in poor soil. And I love protocol. I haven't heard that word in a long time. You said you've been loving these protocols. I think in your niche, it works in particular very well. But I mean, Big Video Podcast is probably going to see a protocol video coming soon because yes, you could do that for business, homesteading. So think about that. All right, here's the next one. Number 3 is the counterintuitive claim formula. This one got as high as 12x your typical views. And it's a very short and powerful title. Meat is better than exercise. 5-word title, very power packed. Break this one down for us.
Yeah, it's very different to see that. Wait, what? I thought exercise was great for you. And it is, but we think meat is bad for you. So it's the exact opposite of what most people have heard. And it really they want to know why. What do you mean meat is better than exercise? And that's actually a podcast interview with Dr. Sean Amara, who's a visceral fat expert. And he's a big fan of the carnivore diet. He's a big fan of red meat. Not a big fan of like long distance training and running. He likes more sprinting for reducing visceral fat. And that was the conversation about the benefits of red meat for lowering inflammation, lowering visceral fat, and why you don't want to do too much jogging and running. Sorry, Sean, I know you're a runner, but for visceral fat, like sprinting, burst training is a lot more effective for reducing visceral fat. And yeah, that video crushed. And it was actually a repurposed, it was taken from a 2-hour interview I did with Sean last year, where we took that clip and then we repurposed as an episode.
Wow. And so that's very fascinating. And the fact that it's a podcast, like that, there's a lot of video podcasters listening to this, and that's a counterintuitive title for a podcast. Interesting idea, because it's like, it's a grabber, it's a hook. Like, you grab with the concept, it makes sense that then it unpacks into this broader conversation with somebody that's going to talk about carnivore, but that is a way to, again, grab attention. And clearly it worked. 50,000 views on a long form interview. That's the counterintuitive claim formula. So for any niche, you could say this unexpected approach is better than this common practice. Unexpected approach is better than common practice. So in personal development, reading fiction is better than self-help books. Pretty great. That actually kind of gets me pumped. And you might add a little bit more. You might be like, reading fiction is better than self-help books for business. Very counterintuitive. Okay. Photography example. Smartphone photography is better than expensive DSLRs. All right. Number 4, the authority contradiction formula. So the original title, this was a 14 times more views. By the way, we're working our way up to 300x, the highest performer. But if we look at number 4, the authority contradiction formula, we learn it too late. Do not make these health mistakes. Break it down.
That was actually, and I love this format, Sean. This is super cool. Very, very cool what you did here. That was actually a keynote lecture I did at Biohacker Expo 2025 here in Miami. And that keynote, we've been having a hard time getting keynotes to get traction, these long format lectures, just because it's long format. It's a different format. It's not like you're not cutting between me speaking. It's a long-winded kind of educational content. So how can we make it exciting? And that's what we did with that. It's actually me speaking on stage. We wanted to try to find a title that would intrigue people. And it does talk about the corruption of big pharma and big food, and why what we've been taught is the exact opposite. And here's how you actually get healthy. And it's actually taken from one of my keynote lectures that I did just a few months ago here in Miami.
Now, here's what I think the insight is too. I'm guessing that was not the title of your keynote lecture.
No, it was not.
That's the mistake I think a lot of business people, entrepreneurs, speakers make, is they have the way you would title a PowerPoint presentation or a workshop that ends up being in the pamphlet for the event, or the way that, what's actually on the slide is different than how you might title YouTube. So I think understanding that there's multiple different ways to package things, and I love and essentially repackage, and we do the same thing. I have these keynotes or these talks, but never really is the title what my actual session title is. I'm thinking about what's the angle, how's it tie into the hook, and that is very powerful. It's the authority contradiction formula. For any niche, you could do what most experts learn this too late. Most experts learn this too late. Do not make these niche mistakes. So in investing, Wall Street learns this too late. Do not make these investing mistakes. Or if you had a DIY channel, professional builders learn this too late. Do not make these home renovation mistakes. All right, number 5, the time-bound promise formula. How to get rid of your visceral fat in 30 days, complete beginner's guide. 30x, 37x outlier. This video got 365,000 views. So many powerful things happening in the packaging of this title. Break it down.
That one, I went into it with a CTA in mind. I created a 30-day visceral fat protocol where here's how I created that. I put the transcript of that video that I already recorded into ChatGPT and said, ChatGPT, write an ebook based off of the transcript. And then I had my editors design it. And that was the CTA in that video. I explained what visceral fat is, how dangerous it is, and how it's so easy to get off your body without having to struggle or count calories or rely on willpower. So I gave some really bold claims. I gave the protocol step by step. I made it clear that you need to follow the whole protocol, and you'll see a huge difference in 30 days as long as you follow the entire protocol. And then I said, hey, if you want this written out for you in a game plan or an ebook, go to targetbellyfat.com. I actually got that domain, and you could get that free PDF. So it got me about 10,000 emails from that one video, which is super cool.
Woo. Okay, this is a pretty rich campaign, really. So I got to unpack this. I think number 1 is what I love about this is there's still how-to titles, search-based titles still work. You're a student of Video Ranking Academy, and years ago, you joined literally years ago. We've been friends for years. Watched
2019, 2020, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. So 2019, so 6 years ago, basically kind of the whole journey. And while we've also found, as we've updated our program and updated our course, it kind of includes the both and of exactly what we're talking about here. It's like there is a whole new, YouTube has changed. The rules are different. You have to learn this new skill set. But what I can see here is like how to get rid of your visceral fat is good, but where it gets amazing is the in 30 days. And you mentioned that earlier. And that's why this time-bound promise formula, I think, brings it to another level, because it anchors it in kind of practical, how to, still proven, the thing they want to, visceral fat would be searchable. And then complete beginner's guide also would speak to, especially in the education niche, you're calling out beginners, you're calling out that it's going to be holistic. But I also love this idea that you quickly made a free download, bought a URL, and built 10,000 fresh email subscribers off of one YouTube video. That's wild. Any other insights from this?
Yeah, and it was before when I created these ebooks, I used to write it from scratch and it took me a lot longer. But now with ChatGPT, so easy. You just, plug it into there. It writes a beautiful ebook, and then I just have my editor make it look as clean and short as possible. And then there's a whole bunch of email sequences that go out when they get it, and then it gets them into the course, the main list, and it just continues to grow the community. It's been awesome. There's another video that we'll talk about that got even more emails, and I'm excited to share that too.
Amazing. So, all right. For any niche, we're talking about number 5, the time-bound promise formula, and there's 7 of these we're going through. And so for any niche, you could say how to overcome a common obstacle in X number of days, even if you're starting from zero, or complete beginner's guide. So if you had a coding channel, how to build your first app in 14 days, even if you've never coded before. And then of course you could plug and play these numbers. I know the game has been changed because of AI. So it could be how to build your first app in 24 hours, even if you've never coded before. Music example, how to play 10 songs on guitar in 21 days, complete beginner's guide. Cool. So we have 2 more of these, and let's hit number 6, the quick results formula. And this got up to 41x your typical views. One tablespoon a day melts fat in 7 days. Got 430,000 views. Tell us what it is, because I need to start taking a tablespoon of this. And then how long was this video? How'd you deliver the information? That's a lot of views.
I don't remember how long it was. Probably 15, 20 minutes. We could probably look it up. It was, so 1 tablespoon, it was several different tablespoons. So it wasn't just one. It's hard to talk 15 minutes about just one. Okay. It was 5 different things that you take 1 tablespoon of, and you can mix and match. So olive oil was in there. What else was there? I forgot. Olive oil was in there. Apple cider vinegar was there. There was a few other things, but I've already done a lot of research on these ingredients, these liquids that help you burn fat and lower inflammation. So I wanted to create a video outlining, okay, if you take this in a tablespoon every day, maybe one day it's olive oil, one day it's apple cider vinegar, another day it's this. Here's what you're going to notice in the body. Here are the benefits of each of them. Some of them are a little bit different. You got to stick around to see which benefits that you want, that these apply to, but you'll burn fat, you'll lose weight. It'll happen in a matter of days. So I give some bold claims, and I'm not lying, that actually will help you accomplish all of that. And then again, I attach the Q&A at the end. And it's really, really cool to do that with the Q&A, because I'm prolonging the video, not just to prolong it, but I'm addressing the questions they might have that I didn't address in the main chunk of the content. And there's no fluff. It's like going right into the content. I'm not introducing myself, like I said earlier. We're not doing the old tactics of any of that. I'm going right into the content, and I'm using the first tablespoon example as the most unique one out of the 5 that I illustrated in that video.
Yeah, I promised in the hook that this was going to be one of the most tactical, best episodes listeners have probably ever consumed, and I feel that way. The Q&A at the end insight is genius, as well as these nuances. So it looks like you talked about 7 things: CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, grains of paradise, capsaicin chili powder, retrovostol. I don't know how to pronounce these. Apple cider vinegar.
These. Okay, got it.
MCT oil, extra virgin olive oil. And like you said, it is interesting with the Q&A because it's 13-minute video. So a 13-minute and 48-second video, which is kind of like the dream YouTube length. People always ask me, like, what's the ideal YouTube length? I can't make a promise, but longer is better. And so over 10 minutes, 12, so 13:48 of dense information, your idea. There's no fluff. It's good information. That Q&A strategy reinforces once you've delivered the main points. Of course, and some people are going to jump at that point, but it's going to increase your overall average view duration, thus increasing viewership, time on platform. And I think what's also fascinating is that if you were to say, 7 supplements that, like, what we're talking about here is how do we package, in a way, complex things in simple and easy to understand, highly clickable formats. And so 1 tablespoon a day melts fat in 7 days. It makes absolutely logical sense to me that it's 1 tablespoon of 7 different things. But what I'm hoping to unpack for listeners here is like what the title and the concept, all that needs to do is get people to click. And then once they click, you can introduce more of what's going to happen. But if you share too much up front, that's a lot of people, the mistake they fall into. They pack too much information in the title. The title's so info based. You know, if you were to try to put parentheses and put a couple of those products in the title, there might be some search-based traffic from that, but it wouldn't have done anywhere near the 430,000 views because of also thumbnails and titles and everything else. So for any
and I'll
niche,
just add,
go ahead.
add to that, with those 7 different ingredients, I put all of my Amazon affiliate links for all of them too in the notes, which I learned a lot about how to do affiliate marketing from you, Sean, and Think Media. And I will also say that, to your point, in the beginning of the video where I say I'm going to share 7 different ingredients to consume to burn fat in 7 days, we have that title, 7 different things. 1 tablespoon a day of these 7 things will burn fat. And then it has a list of all 7, but it's all blurred out. So I'm not giving all of it away. They have to watch the video to see all 7.
Genius. So what you're saying is that in the beginning of the video, the list is teased, but you don't see what's on the list. Even better for increasing retention. So you're listening to this podcast. How could you do this in any niche? This simple action doubles your metric in a short time frame. So YouTube growth could be this 30-second intro doubles your retention rate in 1 week, or a social media example, this 5-minute morning routine triples your Instagram engagement in 2 weeks. And so you could plug and play these. Now, we're going to hit one more, and there's a couple things we're going to do. We're going to do a part 2 of this episode. We're going to talk about email lists. We're going to talk about how you got a traditional book deal because of your YouTube channel. And that's what publishers are looking for right now. And really some of the business monetization things you've been learning for content creators and YouTubers. So if you're new to the podcast, subscribe wherever you watch or listen, and be looking for part 2 of my conversation with Ben. And we are going to hit number 7. But before we do, I do want you to give a shout out to your new book. Now, your new book is going to help us get healthy, but specifically, what new research and what information are you delivering that could help us all peak perform, have better energy as content creators and entrepreneurs?
That's what it's all about. Energy, productivity, longevity, health span, lifespan. Don't you want to just perform better, look better, feel good? That's what it's all about. So the book, it's called Metabolic Freedom. I'm holding it up here for those watching on YouTube. It's a 30-day guide to help restore your hormones, balance your hormones, burn fat. And 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. They're fatigued, they're inflamed, they're overweight. That's not conducive to a productive business. If you want to scale your business, you have to scale your energy, and your health has to come first. So it's written for the masses. It's not a niche book. There are scientific studies in there, 275. However, it's really easy to read for the average person to just understand how the metabolism works. So how can you eat the right foods for energy and swap out the bad foods that deplete your energy, how to burn fat, how to have more energy, how to lower brain inflammation, neuroinflammation, so you have more focus and clarity. It's just everything I've been learning the last 17 years being in the health space and going through my own journey. I laid it out in the book, and it's out May 13th. We have a special bonus metabolism course we're giving away for anybody who orders the book, with 12 lessons on the metabolism and exclusive interviews I did for the course with health experts you may or may not know. Gary Brecka, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Daniel Pompa, Megan Ramos, and Cynthia Thurlow. All that's in the course when you pre-order the book order the book over at metabolicfreedombook.com.
Amazing. So we'll make sure that those links are in the show notes. And I do want to encourage you to follow Ben, check out his links in the show notes as well to his YouTube channel. He has been such a blessing in my life as my go-to guide for so many different things I can't unpack in regards to my health. You know, many people might call it biohacking, but just really health best practices for me, so I can be present for my kids, my family, so I can be peak performance for my team, and for, frankly, just the level of stress and pressure being a content creator, being an entrepreneur. Health is so critical. It's like the foundation. And this podcast is clearly about YouTube tactics and things like that. But if you want to create an edge in the next month and in the next year, you start getting your health dialed in, you're going to see it affect every other area of life. So I hope that's a blessing to you, and encourage you to check out Ben's book and his resources in the show notes, and then also listen to part 2 of our conversation. But we got to hit number 7. So we're talking about these 7 different viral title formulas that transformed your channel and specifically generated over 100,000 subscribers in about 35 days. We had the unexpected solution formula, the step-by-step protocol formula, the counterintuitive claim formula, the authority contradiction formula, the time-bound promise formula, the quick results formula, and then finally, the experiment result formula. This was the highest performer, 300x outlier. How many Think Media podcast listeners, you're listening to this right now, would you like to get 300 times more views on your next video by just implementing this one strategy? Well, this is what we're talking about. It's the experiment results formula. And Ben, the video you created was what happens when you stop eating for 36 hours. It got 2.1 million views. Explain this video and what happened here and why this video did so well in your opinion.
It took off. The timeline. People love the timeline. They love to see what's happening hour by hour. So I go through that journey and I say it from the beginning. I say, look, doctors won't tell you this. So already a controversial statement. But when you go without food for 36 hours, if you practice a water fast for 36 hours, some incredible things happen inside of your body. I'm going to go through a timeline here, hour by hour, to show you what exactly is going to happen in your body during a 36-hour fast. So I start off right away, 0 to 14 hours, boom, boom, boom. 17 hours in, boom, boom, boom. 24 hours in, boom. So I'm going through this whole timeline of what's happening, the changes happening in your body. I'm attaching the Q&A at the end. I had an ebook offer for how to lose 7 pounds of fat in 10 days attached to it, which was not even relevant to that topic because it was on fasting, but I guess it is still health relevant. And that one video, Sean, got me 27,000 email subscribers. And I saw it take off. So I recorded an Instagram reel, but I changed it from 36 hours to what happens when you don't eat for 100 hours. And I recorded a reel. And that Instagram reel has 12.9 million watches right now. And it's still going on Instagram, over 6 million on Facebook reels. And it got me a whole bunch of cool followers. I was showing you Steve Aoki. I didn't tell you this, but President Trump's son, Eric Trump, just started following Gordon Ramsay, all from that reel, because it shows you like which reel they followed you from. And it was from that reel. So that one video on YouTube gave me an idea to create a reel on it. And it just completely changed the game here.
Yeah. And so I'll describe this for listeners. The full title is Doctors Won't Tell You This! What happens when you stop eating for 36 hours? The thumbnail text is crazy, but it works. And then you've got a nice stoic face with the cool kind of blue light blocking glasses. And you're looking at these kind of, I see these in a lot of your thumbnails, these kind of like transformational, sometimes cartoon images that you'll see on like the how-to websites, week 1, week 2, week 3 of seeing body transformation. And if, you could look up the video, we'll make sure to link this one because these are the kind of things that are worth studying. That's also all in the last month. Yes. So this sort of speaks to that like 80-20 rule. This is probably the 99-1 rule that sometimes like one video could disproportionately 27,000 new email subscribers, massive growth, being followed by politicians, influencers in the government, famous DJs, from turning, and also a cool principle of taking like a banger concept, a winning concept on YouTube, and then tripling down on that to create a vertical video version. Did you generate that from scratch? Did you say, okay, let me actually craft a vertical video version?
Yeah, I mean, I based it off of that, the first 36 hours, and I added the rest of it because it was going to 100 hours. But yeah, and it was like 90 seconds, of course, that reel, and it just took off on all the channels.
Meaning you didn't repurpose it. You didn't like cut it out of the video, but you're like, let me actually like re-record
no, it was a whole new video. Yeah.
So if you have an idea this strong, then, and it's been proven on YouTube and you can maybe figure out how to turn it into 90 seconds, that's a cool action item. There might be something in your library right now of content that you could translate to a vertical format. And so here's how you can apply this to any niche. What happens when you try unconventional approach for a specific time frame? So a productivity example is what happens when you wake up at 4 a.m. for 30 days. Financial example, what happens when you stop using credit cards for 3 months? Different ways you could apply that. So those are 7 of the kind of packaging formulas that Ben has been using on his channel that have produced massive results. I encourage you listening to this to try one of these in the next week. Try one of these new formats and consider breaking out of your current style. Maybe you normally do talking head. Maybe you normally teach behind StreamYard or live stream or do a video podcast. Maybe do an off the cuff, more conversational video, because experimenting with formats can oftentimes break a plateau of growth. Now, make sure to stick around for part 2 of my conversation with Ben, which is coming out soon. And until then, this is the Think Media Podcast. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and we will talk soon.